Nearly a fortnight after the caravan had returned to its headquarters in Palmyra, Hafid was awakened from his straw cot in the stable, and summoned to appear before Pathros. He hastened to the bed chamber of the master and stood uncertainly before the huge bed which dwarfed its occupant. Pathros opened his eyes and struggled with his coverings until he was sitting upright. His face was gaunt and blood vessels bulged in his hands. It was difficult for Hafid to believe that this was the same man with whom he had spoken only 12 days ago. Pathros motioned toward the lower half of the bed, and the youth sat carefully on its edge, waiting for the old man to speak. Even Pathros' voice was different in sound and pitch from their last meeting. "My son, ye have had many days to reconsider your ambitions. Is it still within thee to become a great salesman?" "Yes, sire." The ancient head nodded. "So be it. I had planned to spend much time with you, but as you can see there are other plans for me. Although I consider myself a good salesman, I am unable to sell death on departing from my door. He has been waiting for days like a hungry dog at our kitchen door. Like the dog, he knows that eventually the door will be left unguarded." Coughing interrupted. Pathros and Hafid sat motionless as the old man gasped for air. Finally the coughs ceased and Pathros smiled weakly. "Our time together is brief, so let us begin. First, remove the small cedar chest which is beneath this bed." Hafid knelt and pulled out a small leather-strapped box. He placed it below the contour made by Pathros' legs on the bed. The old man cleared his throat. "Many years ago, when I possessed less status than even a camel boy, I was privileged to rescue a traveler from the east who had been set upon by two bandits. He insisted that I had saved his life and wished to reward me, although I sought none. Since I had neither a family nor funds, he enjoined me to return with him to his home and kin, where I was accepted as one of his own. One day, after I had grown accustomed to my new life, he introduced me to this chest. Inside were 10 leather scrolls, each one numbered. The first contained the secret of learning. The others contained all the secrets and principles necessary to become a great success in the art of selling. For the next year I was tutored each day on the wise words of the scrolls, and with the secret of learning from the first scroll I eventually memorized every word on every scroll until they had become a part of my thinking and my life. They became habit. At last I was presented with the chest containing all 10 scrolls, a sealed letter, and a purse containing 50 gold pieces. The sealed letter was not to be opened until my adopted home was out of sight. I bade the family farewell and waited until I had reached the trade route to Palmyra before opening the letter. The contents commanded me to take the gold pieces, apply what I had learned from the scrolls, and begin a new life. The letter further commanded me to always share half of whatever wealth I would acquire with others less fortunate, but the leather scrolls were neither to be given nor shared with anyone until the day when I would be given a special sign that would tell me who was next chosen to receive these scrolls. Hafid shook his head. "I do not understand, sire." "I will explain. I have remained on watch for this person with a sign for many years, and while I watched I applied what I learned from the scrolls to amass a great fortune. I had almost come to believe that no such person would ever appear before my death until you returned from your trip to Bethlehem. My first inkling that you were the chosen one to receive the scrolls came upon me when you appeared under the bright star that had followed you from Bethlehem. In my heart I have tried to comprehend the meaning of this event, but I am resigned not to challenge the actions of the gods. Then when you told me of giving up the robe, which meant so much to you, something within my heart spoke and told me that my long search was ended. I had finally found he who was ordained to next receive the chest. Strangely, as soon as I knew I had found the right one, my life's energy began to slowly drain away. Now I am near the end, but my long search is over and I can depart from this world in peace." The old man's voice grew faint, but he clenched his bony fists and leaned closer to Hafid. "Listen closely, my son, for I will have no strength to repeat these words." Hafid's eyes were moist as he moved nearer to his master. Their hands touched and the great salesman inhaled with effort. "I now pass on this chest and its valuable contents to thee, but first there are certain conditions to which you must agree." In the chest is a purse with 100 gold talents. This will enable you to live and purchase a small supply of rugs with which you can enter the business world. I could bestow on you great wealth, but this would do you a terrible disservice. Far better is it that you become the world's wealthiest and greatest salesman on your own. You see, I have not forgotten your goal. Depart from this city immediately and go to Damascus. There you will find unlimited opportunities to apply what the scrolls will teach. After you have secured lodging, you will open only the scroll marked 1. You are to read this over and over until you understand fully the secret method which it relates and which you will use in learning the principles of selling success contained on all the other scrolls. As you learn from each scroll, you can begin to sell the rugs you have purchased, and if you combine what you learn with the experience you acquire, and continue to study each scroll as instructed, your sales will grow in number each day. My first condition then is that you must swear under oath that you will follow the instructions contained in the scroll marked 1. Do you agree? Yes, sire. Good, good. And when you apply the principles of the scrolls, you will become far wealthier than you have ever dreamed. My second condition is that you must constantly dispose of half your earnings to those less fortunate than you. There must be no deviation from this condition. Will you agree? Yes, sire. And now the most important condition of all. You are forbidden to share the scrolls or the wisdom they contain with anyone. One day there will appear a person who will transmit to you a sign just as the star and your unselfish actions were the sign I sought. When this happens, you will recognize this sign even though the person transmitting it may be ignorant that he is the chosen person. When your heart assures you that you are correct, you will pass over to him, or her, the chest and its contents, and when this is done there need be no conditions imposed on the receiver such as were imposed on me and which I now impose on you. The letter which I received so long ago commanded that the third to receive the scrolls could share their message with the world if he so desires. Will you promise to carry out this third condition? I will. Pathros sighed in relief as if a heavy weight had been removed from his body. He smiled weakly and cupped Hafid's face in his bony hands. Take the chest and depart. I will see thee no more. Go with my love and with my wishes for success, and may your Lisha eventually share all the happiness your future will bring you. Tears unashamedly rolled down Hafid's cheeks as he took the chest and carried it through the open bedroom door. He paused outside, placed the chest on the floor, and turned back toward his master. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. The old man smiled faintly, and nodded. He raised his hand in farewell,